Hello, everyone. I'm Craig Williams, and I have a very exciting new Minisode series for you to debut today, and it is called Current versus Classic. So, in this series, what we're going to do is compare the current version of an attraction versus the older versions or the attractions that stood in their place before. And so, when we originally recorded these episodes, we thought that we could do way more in one sitting than we could actually do. So we've split them up into individual ones. And in this very first one, we are going to compare Test Track versus the last iteration of Test Track and the very first attraction that was in that World of Motion. So here is that for you. The three versions of that attraction, we have to decide which one's going to compare. We'll start with World of Motion. Of course, World of Motion was one of the opening day attractions at Epcot, opening on October 1st, 1982. It ran until January 2nd, 1996. We've talked about World of Motion on a previous Minisode that we did, where we talked about things that we would like to see come back because we missed them. And the ride was a great look into the history of transportation from the days when the wheel was started all the way through to the future. It was just classic Disney dark ride in every sense of the way. Humorous plot, great characters, great audio animatronics, just very, very memorable. It was designed by Ward Kimball, one of the legends of
Disney Imagineering.
Walt Disney Animation. So he was one of the 9 old men. So unless I'm like completely getting that wrong, but I'm 99.9% positive he was one of the 9 old men. And I talked about on that one episode the iconic entrance of the attraction where you see the Omni movers circling around up into the actual ride building. It was one of those weenies that just drew you in. And I know I experienced it. I don't know if you guys did.
I don't think I have, but I am. The way you describe it, I'm super intrigued. I like attractions that have a lot of animatronics. So it definitely seems like this would have been a classic even if it had stayed till today.
No.
So
it even had that great sound. It had "It's Fun to Be Free" was kind of the theme song of the ride. So written by Exitensio, and I'm sure you've heard that before. I know you listen to the official albums and stuff. So
yeah.
It's fun to be free.
Yep.
So
yep.
I absolutely love that. So in my opinion, it is a classic. Ryno, you didn't get to ever do this, did you? I don't believe you did.
What year did it close?
96.
Yeah, I probably did it. I just don't remember it. Like when I was a kid, we'd come to Disney every year, and it was Disney and Epcot or Disney and Universal. But for some reason, I don't really have a memory of this.
Yeah, you were hitting the bottle hard even as a child. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, you know that teething when they put the beer around the gums? Yeah. Just hit me.
That's what you did. Well, a absolute great attraction, and then of course it was closed and replaced by Test Track, which finally, after years of being delayed, it finally opened up. It soft opened to the public in December of '98, and then had its grand opening in 1999, which it was supposed to originally open in May '97. So that's how much this ride went through issues. Of course, Test Track, the first version of it, I think everyone's done it at one point in time, unless you're very recent to Disney. Unlike the current aesthetic that it has, this one was as if you were going through a crash test facility to learn how GM cars were made. The attraction sponsored by General Motors, and as you're walking through the queue, you'd hear the crash and the bangs.
That was the most maddening cue music of all time.
Oh, yeah. The song itself that repeated, the 4-minute loop, that was annoying enough. To work in that attraction, to have to be right outside of the briefing rooms, just the most obnoxious thing. It never ended. And when they'd cut the music in there, all the effects would still be going off, and you would hear how terrible they were. But then the ride itself, it was very classic. You went through the different testing phases. You went up the incline. You went down through the different types of terrains with the different bricks before you come to your brake tests and go through the hot chamber, the cooled chamber, the corrosion chamber. Then you start to go through the winding sections to do some vehicle handling before the ultimate crash test, which was that great start to speed up like you're gonna hit that wall like a crash test dummy, open up and go through that awesome outside section. It just such I am biased because that was the attraction I worked at, but it was such a great ride overall. And then having the comedian John Michael Higgins as the host of the little pre-show, I enjoyed him in there. This ride, I love this version of the ride.
I do too. I think if you can survive with that old version of the ride, if you can survive the music that was in the queue, this is such a great ride. I'll save it till the end for what my opinion is, but it's pretty high on my list.
Ryno, any thoughts on this one?
I like. Well, I remember this one. It's. I don't know. Like I liked. God, Higgins. What's his name?
John Michael. Well, in the show, he was Bill McKim.
Yeah, I remember that, but I always was that queue was always just like so long and like it didn't do anything for me. It
the attraction or the queue?
I was just never. It was just this thing that everyone talked about for so long, and when I finally did it, I was like, really?
Oh,
I don't know.
Interesting. Well,
but that opinion may change when you talk about the next iteration.
Well, then in December of 2012, I believe is the exact time. It might have started in softs in November, but I was at the grand opening of this, so that's why it sticks out to me. Test Track presented by Chevrolet, the new update to it that many call Test Track 2.0 or Tron Track, opened up, and this time instead of going through the vehicle testing facility, it's more about designing your own vehicle, which is something that is like a thing of the past. No one does that portion anymore, or cares about it. But you get the chance to design your own vehicle and then put it through the testing phase to see how the vehicle will handle to different types of different types of elements, wind, all of that. Gone are the detailed kind of sets and looks of the testing facility, and instead it's just you're stuck in this neon world.
Black light.
Yeah, black light. It looks like you're right in Tron, and except it lacks like the great music of Daft Punk.
I know.
In a Tron
that's all it's missing, yeah.
But the ride track didn't change at all. Every element is still the same. Even some of the props are still in there, like the truck that is pulling out to scare you as you're going into the dark. That's all there. So essentially the same ride, just a theme change on it. I know that I was a little disappointed seeing the change to it, but do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was disappointed too. I feel like they stripped away a lot of the details of the ride, and they just made it. I don't know. They just tried to play off the fun of black lights and all that. I don't know. I feel like it was a gimmicky upgrade, and a cheap way to make it feel like they made it futuristic by just making it black light. I don't know.
Yeah. Ryno?
I like it. I like that it's a grid because I think it updated to like a lot of the commercials on TV right now for the new Toyota vehicle. The name I can't remember of it, but is the crash dummies and like what they're doing in life now, because they don't test vehicles that way anymore, because they were saying like the anti-lock brakes and all, or the sensor that will stop the car for you or keep you from swerving, and so it's all kind of done in this digital environment first now and then done in this. So like I feel like it's reflective of that. I guess I get what you're saying, but I also really love Tron, and it's the closest thing I thought we'd ever get to a Tron ride, which may not be true now, but I do agree. I wish it had just like fully committed to being something else. You know what I mean? It's still like it felt like they had this idea and they did this overlay, but they never really
fully invested in the idea.
They didn't want to invest in it. Like if they had just said like we were building light cycles or named this like a new type of car for the grid, because essentially there's a city off to the side that looks like the city from the movie, and just pumped in that Daft Punk soundtrack, I would have been thrilled. but I think that was still right before they started that commitment to really having the movies at Epcot. You know, like Frozen was the first step in that direction. So
I also, the thing that I don't like about this attraction is like when you design your car, that slows the whole process of getting onto the attraction.
Yeah.
And then you have that super horrible gridlock where everyone is released from designing their car and everyone's funneled down into the one little strip to get up to the loading area.
It's a mess.
It's
So
I don't even do the design of the car. It's honestly just a waste of time. They make it up. I don't know that it's actually like you've designed it better.
It's stupid. So which version of this attraction, the transportation pavilion, would we rather have? Wonders of Life, Test Track 1, Test Track 2.
You want to start?
Yeah, the current one of all of them. I mean, I never saw that one you talked about. I don't remember it. If I saw it, there might be a picture of me in front of the building somewhere. But so I can't attest to that. But of the two, I'm fine with this one, and I'm fine if they do it over again.
I am between World of Motion just because I've never been on it, but you have me extremely intrigued. But I am going to lean towards the original Test Track just because I do remember it, and I did enjoy the original Test Track.
And I would take World of Motion. It didn't have nearly the mechanical issues that Test Track has. It doesn't go down in rain and lightning because it's indoors. Epcot needs more rides that just eat people. That's what Epcot needs, not thrill rides anymore. They need those. I would rather have that one back. Thanks for watching this episode of Current versus Classic. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to share it with a friend. If you want to let us know which one you prefer, the Current, Classic, or some iteration in between, go ahead and leave a comment below. Give us thumbs up, and we hope you have a great day. Thanks, everyone.